Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh, it is Friday. So that's one reason why I'm celebrating. And you know what? The second reason why I'm celebrating is because well, I guess I should tell you who I am. Hey, I am Dr. Jarika Dodd. I am the executive editor of PharmaSis magazine. Have you seen my magazine? Nonetheless, that's not why we're here. Not quite. But I get the opportunity to showcase the most amazing women in pharmacy. So I wake up and I say that I have the best job because I get to showcase the most amazing women that you might not know of, or maybe you do, but you didn't know exactly what they did. You've seen them, but you weren't sure. And this lady that we're getting ready to talk to is probably one of those people, none other than Dr. Rachel Gainsbruh. And you probably know her for her business called Short Term Gems. And if you've watched her, you've seen her, you've seen that magnetic smile that she has, and you've wondered, what's she doing? What's that all about? She says she's a pharmacist. Really? All of that. We're going to unpack it today as Dr. Rachel Gainsbruh has stopped by the studio so that we can just have some good old-fashioned pharmacist talk. So welcome, Dr. Rachel. I am so happy. I just want to hug you because I know we've never met in person, but I light up every time I see you on social media, and I'm so proud of what you're doing. And I'm honored, and let me say thank you publicly for allowing me to be part of your marketing journey and you being a part of PharmaSis Magazine Winter 2022. Woo!
That was amazing. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dr. Jarika, because I am just so flabbergasted at what you have done with this magazine. It is something to behold. Shiny, it's beautiful, and the stories in there, inside and out, the stories in there are just such an inspiration for everyone, really, who is in pharmacy, everyone who has pivoted from that W-2, that 9 to 5, and they have explored other places and other things to do. So super. It's just such an inspiration. So I enjoy reading the stories of all the other pharmacists, and I know we have a few good men that are going to be featured as well. So super excited about that.
So I gotta ask you, Dr. Rachel, because obviously you have gotten this magazine on your doorstep, and I know that obviously we did the marketing, the digital piece that always happens first. But it's part of the reason that I have continued to provide the print copy, because part of the experience is when you go to your mailbox or you open the front door, you reach down and you pick up this package, and you don't worry about that lady on the front. Don't worry about her. But when you turn the page and you get to yours, and you see yourself, you were tell the audience what that felt like, because it's one thing to see it on social media and you're like, oh, that's wonderful, but how did it feel when you opened up the pages and got to this page?
It was a wow moment for me. And I had seen different social media print versions of it. I had seen, not print necessarily, but the digital versions of it, as well as being featured in other platforms. You're like, wow, that's a great, Canva graphic of me. That's awesome. But to get that tangible, the tactileness of opening that magazine, yes. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Even my parents, they're from Haiti. They were here. They
I
each
didn't know
grabbed a
that.
copy, yes, a couple of weeks ago, and they just, oh my, they were floored. They were floored. And I'm not going to say that self esteem is an issue with me, Dr. Jarika, but when I saw that, I said, wow, I'm a big deal.
You are.
Oh my goodness. And it just really placed that cherry on top. So thank you.
And it's why I do this, because Dr. Rachel, pharmacists are brilliantly insecure.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. We're brilliant, but we don't want to tell anybody that we're brilliant. Like I just got finished yesterday, and my coaching clients, my one-on-one coaching clients, they get it probably more than anybody else does for me. I literally just stood on my soapbox yesterday, and I was like, every one of us has a movement. Because
Mm.
I know a little bit about the history of Haiti, and because I'm a history buff, I wanted to be an English and history teacher, not a pharmacist. That's a whole nother story. But I watched recently the Haitian Revolution, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow, a very proud people. I
Yeah.
came to know and understand more about Haiti. So I can't wait till we get our offline conversation, because
Mhm.
I didn't even realize that your parents were Haitian.
Mhm.
Nonetheless, when I tell you that I believe we all have a movement in us. We
Mm.
all have a reason why we do what we do. And so oftentimes we end up showing up and saying, oh, well, this is what I have to sell, and this is what I can teach you, and this is what you can learn. But why? Why do you do what you do? Tell us why you do what you do, because you're in the short term rental
Yeah.
real estate market. Why do you do what you do?
Oh, I love that question. So it goes back for me being that little girl from Haiti also. So I was born in Haiti, raised in Miami. And as
Mhm.
you know, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
And so when I came to this country, I was like, wow, this is such an opportunity. And my parents really instilled that in me. And
Mhm.
so I always wanted to be in the helping professions. So I thought of medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and landed on pharmacy. And so upon graduation, though, financial literacy was not part of the works for me. And so when I graduated, my husband graduated, he graduated with a psychotherapy degree as well. And so
Mhm.
we're looking at nearly $500,000 worth of student loans.
Mhm.
So, Dr. Dre, we burnt the candle at both ends. We worked moonlight shifts, all the things, but really that financial literacy wasn't there. And we realized that we quickly had to make amends and we quickly had to fix that. And
Mhm.
so, after paying off the student loans, we then moved into real estate investing because we wanted to have something for our children, for college, for later in life, and landed on short-term rentals just because of the returns and the profitability compared to all of the other aspects. But what I did expect to happen, because I always, wanted to be in healthcare, what I didn't expect to happen was I started to get my voice back. No longer was I that scared post resident that,
Mhm.
had to do all the things, had to work overtime for free sometimes. I started to
Mhm.
get my voice and I started to speak up. Once you start to generate a little bit of revenue on the side, all of a sudden you could stand up a little bit
Mhm.
taller. You can, start to have those hard conversations because you were no longer in that position where you needed,
Mhm.
that job to survive. And so the reason I do what I do is I want every single pharmacist to use their inside voices or use their outside voices to stand up for themselves and to
Yeah.
advocate for themselves. And
Mhm.
that's how I found how to advocate for myself is to generate a revenue stream outside of pharmacy. And
Mhm.
I just want to share that message with all of the pharmacists that I know. Find your superpower, find what lights you up, go and do that too
Yeah.
as you work within your pharmacy career until you can reposition or pivot whatever it is that you have, whatever it is that your heart desires.
Mhm. You are such a sweetheart. I am so grateful that we met. And, on this journey, as I said, I feel like I have the best job,
Yeah, me too.
because number
Mhm.
one, I have had the opportunity to establish a brand and had the opportunity to establish an audience. And then being able, because it takes nothing from me to make a big deal out of you or any other person. And so I could have never imagined that this would be what I do. But I'm so grateful because the people that have come closer, the people that have come and ended up being clients either by coaching or by the magazine or both, I feel like one of the luckiest girls in the world because I think that our profession is going through a bit of crisis of identity. And so I just was reading a post actually earlier this morning where someone was saying, going to get your PharmD, that's a big waste of time. They sold you a bill of goods. There really isn't, this wonderful career at the end of it. And I personally, okay, I understand why the person was saying that, but I feel that in this time of our profession, that it's like how they say in a recession, that's the greatest time to really, make moves when
Yeah.
things are down, look like they're taking a downturn, when things look really low. I feel like that's the same in our profession, in that whatever it is, like whatever you were sold in pharmacy school, whatever you were promised, whatever has not come true. I've been a pharmacist 24 years, so I have seen some stuff. Nonetheless, I believe that this is such a ripe opportunity to one, start dreaming again. Because in pharmacy school, I remember when I started, it was look to the left, look to the right, everybody's not gonna make it, don't let it be you. And so then it became like this kind of survival of the fittest, Hunger Games type of arena where there was so much competition, and it was just you put your head down and it was about finishing. And for me, it was keeping the scholarship because my parents could not afford at that time to send me to school. So it was like, I got to keep the scholarship. And I told you what profession I wanted to be. So if you can imagine me in a totally opposite profession, having to also have the weight of you better keep that scholarship if you want to stay in school, all of that to come out into a profession that I have seen change drastically in 24 years, but to be able to look within and then dig down deep and say, why am I here? Why am I on this planet? Who am I supposed to serve? Who am I supposed to help? Who would I help if I could do it for free and would love what I was doing? When I think that we get to that point and start asking those questions, that's when we find out what we're here for, whether it's in pharmacy, whether it's outside of pharmacy, whether it's to help others in pharmacy or not. I believe that that's when that whole crisis of identity begins to clear up, and you realize that pharmacy is something that was a part of the journey. And
Yeah,
I believe once a pharmacist, always a pharmacist.
absolutely.
But I believe that we're so multi-passionate. There's all kinds of things that we could do. So I know I said a mouthful. What do you think about that?
I'm with you 1,000% because that is the crisis that I faced this past year. As a matter of fact, I was working it out with one of my coaches. She left medicine, psychiatrist, to go and pursue her career in real estate investing. She has a huge, community where they're investing together. And so I asked her, Dr. Lane, how did you pivot? How did you transition? And so she went through, we had our plan for free in 23. That was the motto and the mantra that I was sticking by, free in 23. And I kid you not, what was holding me back? Because at this point, my husband, he had retired at 46 from
Wow.
psychotherapy, which was very stressful. And he runs part of the operations of our rental business. And he kept looking over him. He says, "You seem pretty stressed out. Why don't you cut back? Why don't you retire?
Join me.
Why don't you come join me?" Right. And it was always the excuse of, well, once I get to this benchmark, then I'll, cut back. Once I get to that benchmark. But
Mhm.
it was all an excuse, right? Because of the identity crisis. Because really, who would I be if not a pharmacist? And
Mhm.
so that really is what was holding me back. But ultimately, I took a step and I, walked away from full time work. I'm just consulting now and I haven't looked back. I have been able to serve so many more pharmacists, nurses, psychologists, doctors, engineers who are just looking for a bit of relief and a way to ditch the burnout. And let
Yes.
me tell you, that is what lights me up. That is why I'm here.
And so, you know, talk to me a little bit about marketing yourself because that's really what Pharmacist magazine is. That's the brand I've built has been, because when I became an entrepreneur and I built a cash-based wellness business, and I was going to take care of patients. And when I built the website, which now if I were to do all that over again, I would not start with a website and a logo. I would just be myself. That's what I learned in this journey. Just show up and be who I am, and the people are going to fall in love with you. Not my logo that I spent hours painstakingly trying to pick the perfect blue and the perfect green. Not that, but just show up, tell my story, and be who I am. And then the people who are supposed to come, they come. The people that I'm supposed to draw, they draw. But marketing yourself. When I first started out with my consulting practice, I literally didn't even put my picture on the website because I
Um,
had a limited belief. And I said, nobody's going to buy anything from a Black woman. So if you were to go, I've preserved the website for that reason. If you were to go to that website, you will not find a picture of me anywhere, because that's what I believe. And I was like, oh, nobody needs to know who I am. I just need to be in the background. It doesn't matter who owns it. I just want to serve the people. Well, that is, I think, a backwards approach, and one with a limiting belief, which is why I talk a lot about mindset. But I remember someone getting a hold of me back then and saying, if you want to run this business, if you want to lead this business, then you've got to get out front. And so that is why it is my assignment to show up here every time we publish, because if it were up to me, I'd hide in the background and you wouldn't even know who PharmaSis magazine was attached to. But I think I made the right choice by putting my face out there with that brand, because I look at the number of people that have come as a result, and I don't know if they would have come just for a name. So, what do you think about marketing yourself?
Oh, I love this conversation. And I just appreciate your vulnerability because it allows me to be vulnerable as well. That is the first thing that comes up for me as well. It's who would buy for me? And I apologize if you're hearing that. I don't know where it's
No, I
coming
don't hear
from.
anything.
Okay,
You're good.
awesome.
You're good.
And so it came up for me as well. I am talking luxury, I am talking real estate. That's not for girls like me, right?
Right.
And so it has been such an interesting journey because my goal was to debunk and to demystify, being able to walk into these types of assets, being able to understand them, being able to position ourselves for the acquisition. Because I was, raised in the inner city of Miami, we came up on hard times. We didn't have these conversations at the table. We did not talk about 1031 exchanges. We did not talk about cost segregation studies. That's what the big boys, we're talking about. I was not sitting at that table. So my goal was to make sure that I'm talking about that with the people, with those who look like me. And so I did make it a point to come out there, to have those conversations, to have those in-depth conversations, and to reach out to specialists and resources and make them available to those who look like me. And so that was really a mission of mine. And initially, like I said, initially I did not think that I would really draw the audience that I was hoping for. But right now, our small but mighty Facebook group is 5,000 strong, and we share education every single week.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're going over the same things: how to calculate the numbers, how to calculate the numbers, how to look at it from this angle and that angle, and how to position ourselves. If we're not quite there yet, how do we position ourselves to get in? Because some properties we're able to get in for $18,000 that are worth 800,000 now, and so I do not want anyone to be of the mindset that it's not for them. But those who have decided to onboard, they want to buy from people they know, like, and trust. So if you're
Right.
not going to put yourself out there, they want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from a logo, a fancy logo. The fancier the logo, the more off-putting it may
Right.
be,
The
right?
more daunting, you're like, oh, that's not for me.
definitely not for me. That extra blue, you see how she zhuzhed up the green? That's not for me. So
But
they want to see you. They want to see us.
right. And I think that you're right. When people fall in love with you, they're like, okay, tell me whatever you're selling,
Yeah.
because they're in love with you. They
Yeah.
trust you, they
Yeah.
like you, and they know you. And I know I said that all out of order, but that is what is really key. And I think that as pharmacists, we so somebody is sharing with us some feedback there. So I just wanted to pick that up. But I think as pharmacists, we are so into what I say is fulfillment, that we were trained to be at the end of the line. We are not taught to market. We're not
Mm-mm.
taught to sell. I mean, I used to say, I can't sell anybody anything. Those were the words that used to come out of my mouth, much less the whole nobody's going to buy anything from me because I'm a Black woman.
Yeah.
So I look at when, one, I decided to be very diligent about the words that come out of my mouth, and
Mm.
don't speak curses, but speak blessings.
Yeah.
Because why am I saying what I can't do when I have obviously proven it to myself that I can sell people things, and they don't have to necessarily be in person, because we've been in a pandemic for a couple
Mhm.
of years now, and I have had people buy things, if you will, and I've still been able to reach and market myself. And that is what I tell people all the time: what's the name of my business? And many people are like, and I'm like, you know why? It doesn't matter. What matters is you know me. And so when the invoice comes, you're just like, oh, that's from Jerika. I'm going to pay it,
Right.
because it doesn't matter what the name of the business is. It doesn't matter what the logo looks like. I mean, obviously that's professional and what have you.
Right.
But do you know her? Because
Yeah.
when there's a problem, you don't have to go, no, what was the name of that business? You just reach out to her. If there's a
Mhm.
question, you just reach out to her.
Yeah.
And so that's the piece. And I love, love, love LinkedIn. I love, well, let me not say love. Social media, I believe, is one of those necessary things,
Yeah,
because it allows
absolutely.
us to market and reach the entire world. I know you heard me say this earlier. It
Yeah.
allows us to reach the entire world. The entire world is open somewhere. The world is open 24/7,
Mhm.
and it allows us to reach the entire world. And so there takes that small thinking of, you know what, just right here in my city, you know what, just right here in my state, my zip code, my region, my country, the world.
The
Like,
world.
it's all at our fingertips. And so, and it's again, it's not my favorite thing to do, but I understand that this is the conduit for me to reach the entire world. I'm amazed at the number of people that I just had the summit, and there was a woman who bought a ticket from the UK. I've never met her before. She actually ended up being a part of the LinkedIn boot camp. So
Oh,
she
wow.
to that, and she is a part of that. She wasn't there this week. And then a woman from Spain, and you're like, this has all been from marketing in a social media platform that is reached around the world.
Incredible. Incredible. Where else are you going to find that type of reach?
Right.
Right? Yeah. So it's
24 hours
absolutely
a day.
incredible. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I am excited. Like, okay, like I'm gonna say publicly, like I've got to become your student. I appreciate it, and I'm honored that you have become my student. But like,
Absolutely.
I gotta become your student. You're like, we're over here in this Facebook group, and we are doing our thing, and
Yeah.
I'm showing people. And so I think like that's the beauty of, I talked about the competitiveness of pharmacy, and I
Yeah.
believe that is bred in school, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I really do believe that when we look up and we look at people doing what they do, and being the best at what they're doing, it's an opportunity to learn from people.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that almost anything we need, we can find within our profession. There's a woman or gentleman in pharmacy that provides it, whether it's a pharmacy related service or not. And I believe like that's the beauty of this whole journey is that some of us are still going to need medication. Some of us are still going to need coaching and counseling and all of the things that literally I believe we can provide them for each other. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need the rest of the world, but
But not to interrupt you, I was on a call a little bit earlier today with a gal, a pharmacist, who's designing our swag boxes. That's her side hustle. She does swag for retreats, and so I'm loving that. And she
so
is,
see, yeah, I need to meet her.
yes, she has a presentation called "Never Give Out a Crappy Pen Again." So it's high quality, luxurious swag. I was like,
I
yes,
like it.
pharmacist, yes.
Yes. I mean, and there's just, which is why I say in this time of turmoil or really kind of an identity crisis, if you will, of our profession. And it doesn't mean that I'm not sympathetic or not aware of challenges like
Yeah,
PBMs and
yeah.
pharmacist prescribing. All of those things matter to me as well.
Mhm.
I just want to be the one to, oh, okay. Um, Pharmacist is a fire name for a pharmacist show. Thank you. Um, I just want to be able to serve those that I'm called to serve,
Yeah.
as well as highlight and shine a light on others in the profession that are doing amazing things. Like, I just think that there's so much opportunity for us
Mhm.
to do whatever we are passionate about, called to do. And that's why I get excited every time I see the pale pink show up with your beautiful face. I'm like, there she goes again. There she goes. And even though like I don't obviously understand all the nuances, but I'm coming to learn. I'm so excited to see what you're doing. I'm so excited that we got connected, obviously last year.
Yeah.
So it's already. I'm sure we've already had a year anniversary, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to know what it is that you're doing. So tell the listeners, because there might be some people who come back and watch the replay, tell the listeners what's up next for you and short term gyms.
Yeah, so we continue to share on our weekly lives where we teach about different ways to market our properties for short-term rentals. So it's not just Airbnb and one way to do it. There's multiple ways. We actually host a lot of guests who are displaced from their homes and require temporary housing due to fires. And so that's what we're going to be talking a little bit about next week,
Okay.
whether it's a fire or a major repair.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll continue doing that. And I do have a retreat coming up end of the year. I'm super excited about that. It's going to be my first live event, Dr. Jarika. So
Good, good.
yes, so super excited about that. Yep.
So for those who are like leaning in and they're watching and they're like, okay, I gotta like find her. And I usually say, what social media platform do you want people like? We want to send we want to send the line of people that are going to want to talk to you. We want to send that line of people to which social media platform to reach out and connect. Where do you want them to follow up and connect with you?
Yeah, the quickest way is Instagram. So if you go to Instagram and you put in short.term.gems, that'll be the best way to get in touch with me, and we'll get you in the group, get you going.
All right. Short, let me see if I can get that up really quickly. Let's see if I can post that short dot term dot
Term.gems.
gems, and
Uh-huh.
that's on Instagram.
Instagram. Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can't get that up so people who are watching can see. Let's see. It's there we go. And then I'll show that. Is that it? Short.term.gems. And that's the Instagram handle. So you
Mhm.
want to make sure to go there and follow Dr. Rachel Gainsbruh. because she is doing some amazing things in the world of real estate. And I really am glad that you shared that piece, because I think oftentimes when we think real estate, we think
Yeah.
vacation homes, we think people, and definitely that's a part,
Yep.
but we don't necessarily think of people who've been displaced from their home for natural disasters or
Yep.
fire or anything like that. So I'm grateful to even learn. I learned so much when like, you don't say a whole lot, you're kind of quiet. But when you talk, I'm like, oh, I learned something else. So I can't wait to learn even more. And it's so like she said, if you want to reach out to her, find out what it is that she's got going on. How did she start this? What do I need to do? Get in line, because I'm going to be first. And get over to Instagram, follow her, send her a message, reach out to her so that you can definitely connect with Dr. Rachel Gainsbruh, who was present in the winter 2022 edition of PharmaSis magazine. And the way that you can get a copy of the magazine is go to pharmacistmag.com. You can purchase a single issue. If you're like, I just want the one that Dr. Rachel's in, you can purchase a single issue. There's some people saying that. You can purchase a single issue, or you can subscribe there. So I just want to say, Dr. Rachel, it has been my pleasure to know you, to feature you, to build, because what I'm about building relationships. So it's not just, okay, we've had you in the magazine, now it's over. Now you see, it's like, okay, I want to interview you live. And I promise you, just like how I did the Where Is She Now section for two previous
Saw
featured
that.
ladies, I can't wait until a little bit of time has passed and I can reach out and go, where are you now? And we can continue the conversation, because to me, I think that, like, again, I have the best job in the world to be able to get to do that. So I can't wait until some time passes and we can go, well, where is she now? Because I can imagine that you're going to still be doing even bigger and better, amazing things. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for the honor of being part of your marketing plan for yourself and your business. And I just can't wait for us to continue the conversation both on and offline.
Oh, absolutely, Dr. Drika. And thank you so much. I just love watching your brilliance. It's like, what is she up to again? Just something amazing. So thank you. It's been an honor connecting with you for sure.
You too. And so I appreciate you being a part of the PharmaSis family, and know that the people that are coming to connect with you are going to learn amazing things. But like I said, they got to get in line behind me because I'm on my way. So thank you, Dr. Rachel. And I know that you will have people showing up on Instagram saying, I saw your interview. So this is wonderful. And I'm glad that you had time to stop by and chat with me today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Drika.
You're welcome. Take care. And I'm going to be in that Instagram live. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.